You are tuning in to John Pierre and Mary's fun-loving, crazy, and honest podcast.
If it don't smell bad, it must be clean.
Unequally Yoked, where any and every topic, life,
marriage.
I'll go first because I have something to say.
Uh-oh.
Kids and entrepreneurship are up for discussion.
How does Mary, a pastor's daughter,
and John, a guy who rarely saw the inside of a church growing up, get together, and stay together. We all have roles.
What does life look like 10 plus years into marriage?
2 kids and trying to run a family business.
How do we keep this nest egg from cracking?
What you mean?
Listen in to Unequally Yoked as we dive in to give a man
next and a woman's perspective.
Somebody back me up on this.
To all the topics married folks are talking about.
Are you ready?
Let's do this, boo. Hey guys, and welcome back to Unequally Yoked with John Pierre and Mary. This is episode 6 of our podcast, and we are just getting, we're getting started. It just keeps getting better and better. I'm really excited because my friend, Miss Leslie Ullman, is here from Meadow Valley Media, and she is going to talk to us today all about social media and how we can help our business run better using those social media tools. So everyone, welcome my friend, Leslie.
Hey, clap.
Hey girl, hey.
How are you, Neil?
You always say clap, clap, but you know I'm going to add the big audience howl there. So
you are going to, but I think I'm just adding to the audience. Just
okay.
one more clap.
Yes, and for all of our audience out there, all of our Harper Rain Homes, all of our HRH social media, our website is all the brainchild of our friend Leslie. She is an amazing creative, and she makes us look and sound amazing. Right?
100% agree.
Man, I'm like that. Is that what I'm supposed to be like? Like the writing, like the things that she writes about us. I'm like, ooh, yeah, okay.
It definitely makes me sound and look a lot better than I actually am. So I appreciate
you guys do the work. I just put it in writing.
No, well, thank you so much for being here today. We're so excited to have you, and talk about social media and how people out there can really utilize it to make their business better.
And it's really like the perfect time to be talking about it with Facebook's big announcement on the whole metaverse and changing their name and all that stuff. So
yeah,
they're like Kanye. they can just change their name.
Right.
Or
Prince. Who else? What was that? Ron Artest. He was Meta World Peace.
It's becoming a big joke now. Like on Wendy's social media, they posted something they tweeted something yesterday, and they're like changing my name to Meat.
What would you change your name to?
Oh geez, I don't know.
It would be something.
Okay,
like,
so it's like what's the stripper name? Like it's your birth
like your middle name and your favorite flower or something.
Yeah. Well, it's your birth month and the last thing you just ate.
Yeah.
Well, there was this one. So I worked as a waitress when I was in college, and someone asked me once, they were like, you have a bit of an accent. Where are you from? And I was like, well, I'm French. And he was like, but your name's Leslie. That's not French. And I was just like, I mean, I don't know. It can be. And he was like, what's your middle name? And he was Southern, and this was in New York. And I was like, Monique. And he goes, Monique, that ain't French. And I was just like, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I mean, Monique actually sounds more French than Leslie. And I actually feel like not a good friend because I didn't know that was your middle name.
I didn't know that either.
Okay.
It's okay.
I don't really share.
We do have some real questions for you, but now I have to go back into my brain and think about my stripper name, which is July is my birth month. And eggs is the last thing I ate. So my stripper name is July Eggs. Oh,
I don't know if you want to flaunt that one.
Nobody's coming to see you.
Nobody. I don't know. I could be throwing out them eggs. You know what I mean? Just somebody will like it.
That's an unfortunate It's an unfortunate name, and I'm glad that you're not a stripper.
Well, there it is. I saw this video recently on TikTok because, you know, I'm sorry, that's Rose, and she, of course, has to make all the noise. I saw this video on TikTok where they talk about, it was hilarious. Basically saying the things that as parents, our parents back in the day had the way to get us. Oh, I'm messing this up. I'm always mess up the TikToks because they're not very complicated, but they are. But I just thought about it in terms of social media, how funny it was. It's like back in the day when we were kids, our parents the only way they were able to track us, basically, because kids these age have cell phones. So she was talking about the only way our parents knew that we were alive was just by like hoping and wishing. Like for me, when we got off the bus, we had to just answer the phone, the landline phone my mom called. So you never knew when she was going to call, but you got to be home to answer that call. And now kids these days have cell phones and they have access to all of like everything,
and
right?
they even have like those little tiles that you can tie on your kid's shoe and everything. So you can track where they go. There's
a bunch of
there's
stuff.
everything now.
So it just made me think about life before social media. Like, do you remember like how did businesses, how were people able to stay connected and get the word out, you know, that they have a business before social media?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like we're kind of the generation of social media starting, because a lot of people say that social media now, like when you think social media, you're thinking like Facebook and TikTok and Instagram, but those are just the social networks. That's just like the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more out there. And I mean, we grew up with websites and stuff. Like I remember when websites were pretty new and exciting and everything. And then I think it was like Google that said that you could make your own Google sites all of a sudden. And so my brother and I ended up making our own Google site where we basically plagiarized a page from the encyclopedia and made a website about whales.
Wow.
But that's social media. That's like disseminating information to a large group over the internet. And so like we were there for the start of it with websites and even YouTube. Like I remember when YouTube was just coming out, and like we would sneak into the library at school and pull up videos, and then eventually they blocked youtube.com on the school computers and stuff. But before that, I mean, at the end of the day, social media is about sharing data and sharing information. So what did they do before the internet? I mean, like magazines, flyers, phone calls, like any way that you could pass out that information. And then like when it comes to the advertising side of it, there's still a lot in common. Like on social media, you'll get those targeted ads, you'll get things that they track your data and then they send you specific ads. But they had similar stuff before in terms of product placement. Like you're watching a show and your favorite character always has a Coke in their hand. Then all of a sudden you're like, hey, if they drink Coke, I want to drink Coke.
So I've been on this Friends marathon for like
a long time,
a couple of months now, maybe 3 months. I'm almost there. I'm season 9, like episode 18. And I noticed that now, like in the background, the product placement, I noticed like the beer that they drank and that they were drinking Yahoos. No one drank Yahoos, okay? But it was just so interesting now what I see when I'm watching the show. So that, I mean, it didn't make me want a Yahoo.
It was like chocolate milk?
Yes.
Okay.
It didn't make me want that, but
yeah,
I thought it was interesting. And then there was one whole episode where they drank Sprite. And I'm like, they never drink soda in any other episode except that one.
Well, by that time they were making $1 million an episode and everybody wanted on their show. So, you know, they're getting product placement like crazy. And I think that one of the things that I've noticed when it comes to business and things of that nature is how, number one, social media kind of evens the playing field for businesses to be able to access the world. But with that said, knowing that you're accessing the world can be pretty intimidating, and what image you're putting out there and you know, and that kind of a thing. So how does a business like take advantage of social media, and can you make it as a business without the use of social media? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about knowing your audience and knowing who you want to get a message out to. So like if your audience is a group of people that boycott social media and has no interest in it whatsoever, then you have no reason to be on there, you know. But nowadays it seems like there's so many different forms of social media, whether it's like blogs or virtual communities or forums or anything like that. So there's always ways to kind of get in there a little bit or a certain way. And even like I was saying, like websites are social media. So there are businesses that might just have a website and no actual social network pages or anything. And it's just about getting to your customer base. And as long as you're getting to your customer base, then that's your goal. So
how do you do that? How does a bakery or a chef or a pastry chef make their business stand out from all the other pastry chefs? Like how can they use social media to help their business stand out?
I mean, a lot of times it's about using the right platform. So like if you're a baker and you're making these beautiful cakes and everything, you're not going to go on LinkedIn to put like your beautiful cakes on LinkedIn and then have a bunch of professionals discussing the latest like oil and gas technology. And you're like, look at my cupcakes. Like, so it's just about choosing the right platform. And like Instagram is a really good platform for lead generation and kind of showing like, this is a picture of what I did. If you want to do this, like send me a message and we'll get you booked, which is how it works kind of for you guys a lot. So Instagram's really good for that. But other platforms are like, they all have their strengths and weaknesses. And so it's just about doing your homework and knowing which platform you should be using and then taking full advantage of that to build the right audience and get your message out there and make sure that you're reaching the right people. Because and that kind of goes along with all this obsession with numbers on social media and getting the 15,000 followers and the millions of followers. And at the end of the day, if you have 100,000 followers but only 3 of them care about what you're doing, then the rest of those, they don't matter, like because they're not going to promote your business, they're not going to buy anything from you. It's unlikely that they're going to tell their friends about you. So
it goes back to the old school of just word of mouth at the end of after
very
all
powerful,
of that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not crazy because I mean, social media is just people talking.
It's communication,
communication, right? So it's really the same thing, and just trying to figure out how to make yourself stand out. Speaking of platforms, like what would be the most popular social media outlet for businesses? And I guess you kind of answered that with, kind of depends on what your business is. Where would you find, so for someone like in our industry, we're in the construction design industry, where do you think that would be, where would we find the most success?
I think Instagram's a really good platform for you guys in terms of like, because it's a really good way to present your work and kind of build that online resume of what you're doing. Pinterest is also really good for the design side and home decor and everything, because that's where people go for inspiration. And then if they end up seeing like, wow, this is a business, this is a person who can make my house look like this, then they'll start messaging you directly to
that's my pet peeve about Pinterest, is that it's so pretty, and then when you click on the picture, most of the time you don't see the products because people want to see like, oh, what's that color, what's that towel, what's that light fixture. And I'm like, I just wish that people would share more on Pinterest and not just put that photo, but actually put speaking of product placement, like if it's a lighting company, or if you Google, when you type in Pinterest, which is a big one, farmhouse, light fixture, and all the farmhouse light fixtures come up, and then you just see this beautiful light fixture over a dining table, and then you go to click on it and it's about the damn dining table, and it's like, no, I typed in about the light fixture, you know what I mean? So that's why on our Pinterest, I'm like, we need to tell them what color this is, we need to tell them where we got this furniture from, because that's like my pet peeve on Pinterest.
And I think they're moving towards that more, because originally it was really just about building like an inspiration board. Like I remember when I first discovered Pinterest, It was for wedding planning. And it was someone who told me about it and was like, you need to get on Pinterest. There's so many great ideas for weddings there. And that was how I planned my wedding. Like it was these little things. Like I remember there was a picture of these little glass vases that someone tied around the corner of chairs, and they put little wildflowers in them. And I was like, oh, that's really cute. And so I pinned that. And then I got on Craigslist and I found someone who was selling these little glass vases like that. And
wow.
And then we had like wildflowers, and it all came together based on that Pinterest image.
Right.
And
it's like an inspiration library.
Exactly.
Right.
Mm-hmm. See.
Well, yeah, I definitely see. Well, actually, I don't see.
He doesn't go on Pinterest.
I don't go to Pinterest, but you know, I'm not looking for the pretty things.
You have a Pinterest page, though. You have a Pinterest account.
I do have a Pinterest account.
I would love to see what John pins. It's probably like, I don't know.
It's always floor plans. No, it's floor plans.
Oh, yeah, floor plans.
But that's the thing, like there, and like I think it started as very much in a platform that was more female oriented, but now there's so much stuff on there. Like, I mean, my own husband has a Pinterest page, and on his profile it's all like fishing stuff and like home design, like architecture stuff and things like that. And I was like, there's fishing stuff on Pinterest? Like,
who knew? We thought it was just for us. Here they come. How to organize your tools. I would love to see that on your Pinterest, like a maybe inspiration about a garage organizing.
Oh,
wow, I would be really impressed.
I'm sure it's there.
I know it's there, and I think you should pin it right now. Right now, we need that.
Yes, ma'am. I will make it happen.
We know what that means. And so I was thinking about how Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Like when I started out with social media. Well, first of all, if I want to talk about one day. MySpace is when I met John. It was MySpace, okay, and that you had your music, and you had it was really cool.
I remember people like thinking they were going to get famous off their MySpace page. Like,
wow. I think is it still around? It's still around, right?
I've heard that it is. Yeah, I haven't looked into it or anything. And that's the thing with social media. Like, you have some platforms that get super popular and everyone wants to be a part of it, and then you have others that just kind of fizzle out. And like, I was talking to someone recently, and she was mentioning all the changes that happen on social media and the rate at which it happens. And she was saying, like, there's Facebook and there's Instagram and TikTok's a huge thing, and I'm not on it, but I should be on it. And Clubhouse was big, and now it's not big. And it's constantly changing. And so it's just a matter of like finding what fits for you and hoping that your audience will be there too.
Right.
And speaking of audiences, like obviously every business needs an audience. Every business needs people. And so, you know, there's like that old school thing. I'm a realtor, obviously. And I can't tell you the last time I carried a business card. I don't carry them, period. Right. And so
there's a stack
they're somewhere around here. They're somewhere. They're in this house somewhere. I just never use them.
Wow.
And so, you know, that's something that I wonder, you know, with the advent of social media, is it really necessary to carry business cards or to have like an actual website? Do you need those things, or can you really, you know, just work off of social media's platform?
Yeah. I mean, I think they help make your business more legitimate, because they show that you're investing in it. Like, they show like, hey, this person, like, they have their little business, but they bought a domain.
Little business.
I'm not talking about you guys. I'm just saying.
How are you and your little business doing? That's fighting words for real.
No, but so you have someone who starts a business, and it may not be something huge, but they're already making that investment in it. They're buying a domain, they're printing business cards, and at the end of the day, yes, your card's probably going straight to the recycling bin. Or like, you might, I've seen so many people like hand over a business card, the other person takes a picture of it and then hands it back.
I do that.
And,
yeah.
No, I do it too, because then I know I won't lose it.
Exactly. And I don't have to be responsible for throwing away your money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
good.
So, I mean, is it, yeah. And like, there's the connection side of it too. Like, if you're physically with someone to hand them a business card, then there's a professional side to it, like showing that you invested in your business, but it's also just about making that connection. And you can just as easily be like, hey, let me give you my phone number, or But at the end of the day, like a phone number, it goes into their contacts or something, and then maybe it's gone, But a business card, like especially now, you can put a QR code on them and be like, here's my card, like check out the QR code, you'll see my website, there's pictures of everything I've done, like I really think you'll like it, or like make sure and go to this page because there's something just like what you were talking about, and kind of make that connection even deeper.
Yeah. And that's what social media is. It is making that connection. And now I see when I brought up MySpace, I see kind of now I started out MySpace, then it went to Facebook. Now Facebook has taken over for like our parents. Like my dad is on Facebook. Okay. And now Instagram, I'm on Instagram because I wasn't on Instagram before. And now you have another generation who's on TikTok. So it's like, it seems like social media, the main ones anyway, are starting to grow. Like, do you think that social media is here to stay, especially with all the stuff that's been going on with like Facebook and like the privacy issues that are happening? Do you think that social media is here to stay?
I think so. I mean, it's going to depend the direction that it goes in, because with the privacy issues, like the people who care about it are already going to be cautious. They're not going to be oversharing stuff online. They're not going to be posting a million things. The people who don't care about it are going to keep doing it. Like you still have people publishing, like even publicly on Facebook, those quizzes of like 100 things you never knew about me. Those are 100 things that could be your password. Like those are your security questions to your bank account. Like it's like my mother's maiden name is this, like my first pet was this, my first car was this. Like
wow.
There are still people who put that out there, and to me that's crazy. Like
yes.
I like social media for the creative side of it. I love seeing what people can create on it, can make, and then share that to a broader public. Whether it's like artists or photographers or videographers, or just kind of that whole creative group, like all those people that were told in high school, like you'll never make money doing that. Like look at them now. Yeah. They're really making money doing it.
Yeah, definitely do it. And I think that's pretty, just talking about how people look at social media, right? Yes, there's definitely multiple avenues, because you can hop online and find some, man, social media is tearing the fabric of our country apart, right? And you can find all these different things, but I really think social media is kind of what you make of it. For me, I think it's an extremely inspiring space. I don't do the 100 things you know about me, because
I can't even. I was sitting here thinking, I don't even know 5 things that I'm a woman. Right. I mean, it would be so obvious. Like 100. I don't have 100 things that I would even.
Well, I mean, they put it in question, so you would fill out a quiz, like your daughter's name, your son's name, the year you were born, the city you were born, like.
Well, apparently that's already out there about us, along with other,
right?
Unfortunately, wrong information, which we found out in Googling ourselves, which is a humbling thing.
Yeah. And I honestly think it's something that everyone should do every once in a while, and just kind of check in on your internet resume, like what is online about you. Because like I said, like we're the generation that it started with. And I remember when I first started applying to jobs, I had a friend who had made a website about a Halloween party that he threw. And it was like, our guest list is amazing, we're so excited. And my name was on the guest list, like first and last name. And it was talking about like how it's going to be all night and it's going to be so awesome. And I was like, hey, can you maybe take my name off that website? Like,
please and thank you. Because it's forever.
Yeah, exactly.
And we know people who did that. We used to work for a company who did that. Before they hired people, they would Google them and see what shenanigans. They're like, I don't think we want them to be representing our business. So definitely need to keep yourself in check and make sure that what the internet is forever.
And it's something to teach like our kids and the future generations. It's just like every picture that you post, even if you think it's only within a certain group, it can be screenshotted, it can be shared, it can be reposted. Like those stories of the new co-host of Jeopardy,
oh man,
who was hired and then fired based on what a tweet that he did some years ago. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it was a good or bad thing. It's just, it's crazy.
Life.
Like our parents' generation didn't have to deal with that, you know?
Yeah.
But for us,
who knows what they said?
Yeah, true. Right.
Or
well,
did.
I mean, I think the easiest way to avoid that is just to be your best authentic self. Like just be your authentic self with whatever you're posting online, because in the end, you know, you can't necessarily control what everyone else can or can't do or say about you. But if you're just being yourself, you know, like at some level, people have to accept you for who you are. And you know, if you are, you know, a maniac partier, then that's who you are. And hopefully your life,
own it.
You got to own it and make sure that your life takes you in a direction that you can make money doing that.
Paris
You know
Hilton, all these other people.
Yeah.
There's definitely ways to utilize social media to, you know, bring your business to the forefront. There are ways as a like there are influencers, not us. There are other people who are influencers. I think that social media there are good things about it, and yes, there are some bad things, and so you really just have to stay in your lane and figure out a way to make it work for you.
Yeah, whether it's as a business or as like an individual, it's just kind of setting those rules for yourself from the start and knowing what you're going to share, what you're not going to share. And even in forums, and like there are Facebook groups where people will be so mean to each other from behind the screen, and there are people who have lost their jobs over that stuff, over a tweet or a comment or an online fight.
Yeah.
Well, what you do for us, we really appreciate. We appreciate you being able to take our business to the next level and find our clients and, you know, and target the clients that we want to work with. And so my last question for you would be, for a business who wants to help on building their brand, with someone like yourself, you know, what's that position called? Is it like a social media strategist? Is that something that you would recommend for businesses to get into?
Depending on how familiar they are with platforms. I mean, like I remember I had someone who contacted me about social media once, and they said that they wanted to do something on Facebook for their business. And I was like, okay, well, do you have a page set up yet? And they're like, no, I need a page. And I was like, yeah, you need a page. And the page is only going to be valuable if you have followers. So you need to start building an audience. And for that, you need to start posting content. And it needs
that sounds overwhelming.
Exactly. And that was their response. And they're like, never mind, I'm just going to stick to a website. And so like, yes, it can be a value for sure, but you have to commit to it because it's not going to bring results overnight. It's definitely work. It's still work. Like they're within social media management, like groups, like people who all manage social media. They all, like, I've seen things where they all talk to each other, like, we're not paid enough for this, because like they're, especially the ones who work for really big businesses, because they'll do something, they'll send out a tweet or post something, and then they get all the customer service stuff that's like United, for example, like, or just airlines in general. They'll post something on social media, and then they'll get someone who's like, you guys lost my luggage on this flight last week. And it's just like, I'm not luggage recovery.
Right. I'm just here to post things. Well, I mean, that's awesome. Thank you, Leslie, so much for coming on and being our social media expert. We really appreciate you and your time. We learned so much about, you know, how other people and ourselves can, you know, use social media and the different platforms out there to really elevate their business.
That's right. Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate you.
Yay. So thank you, Leslie.
Bye.
Bye.
Wait, not bye. Wait, because I didn't hear what she said. What did you say?
Oh, I said thank you guys. Thanks for having me on too. It's fun.
Yay, it's fun. And thank you guys so much. You can find Leslie at Meadow Valley Media on Instagram, and myself, Mary TJP.
And Jean-Pierre TJP.
Thank you guys so much.
And your business at Harper Rain Homes.
That's why she's here. Boom. Harper Rain Homes. There it is. Thanks, guys.
Bye.